Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Immortal podcast. Today we are live, which is a change, and we have Skyreign, one of day one free to play players, the same as me, and I'm super excited to have you here. So please present you to the audience.
Hello, everybody. Skyreign here, back again with chat about Diablo Immortal.
So today, chat, we're gonna go through topics. We're gonna talk about the free to play, the difference between free to play and pay to win. Also, we're gonna go a bit, try to explore how did Skyreign started making content and all these things. So I'm very excited to go and get into the conversation. Also, we have a new gimmick into this, and that's why we're doing live. If you guys want to ask a question, you want to have priority, you just need to put a super chat and we're gonna answer it to you. Otherwise, we're gonna leave the questions more later on into the Q&A section. So I'm very excited to have you guys here, also for the community. And let's start with, do you think that free to play nowadays is become more friendly since you started playing since day one, or how it is? Tell me a bit about the story. How did you started to play, and how has been your free to play journey?
Yeah, I think the gap has been gradually getting closer between free to play and pay to win, and that's might be a reason why the whales have kind of started to dip a bit more because they might not like it as much. But yeah, I think it's way more friendlier than it was. I've always taken this approach with free to play though, when it comes especially the mobile gaming market. It's just a preferred preference. There's it's staggering the amount of money in that industry, and I think that needs
So
to honestly
let
be
me ask you.
changed.
I'm gonna get a bit snoopy sometimes. Did you?
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was the last mobile games that you played before Diablo Immortal?
I mean, I've tried a little bit. I actually played Raid Shadow
Okay,
Legends.
okay.
You know,
Like
when
the
it was
best game ever.
when
Please
it was
sponsor
like
the
a
channel.
whole meme. Yeah, when it was like a whole meme forever ago, and actually it wasn't bad. It was just too extremely grindy. And the
Like Diablo Immortal.
long of it. Well, I mean, Diablo Immortal by its design, of course, with an ARPG, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Which is crazy at the same time because they, with Immortal, they make it like, oh, it's more of a casual game. It's like, really? But yet you guys put on all the ARPG mechanics and the horrible drop rates for us and whatever else, and it's kind of like contradictory. But I mean, that's just how they are. But yeah, I mean, I tried various other ones. I always take the free to play approach just because it's like I always say check the company first of whoever's making the game, and then also check the support system, whatever customer support they have, if at all any. In this case, with like Blizzies. Their track record is not always that great,
what was like the thing that here when you talk about the company, was more like the NetEase side, or was like the Blizzard side that got you more like, okay, I don't really want to invest like too much into it?
Well, actually, a little bit of both. And I remember NetEase they got a track record, and so does Blizzard. So I kind of find it funny that the two decided to partner up with this endeavor, but.
Yeah, I'm to be honest,
stories they had with back and forth on them. Yeah,
I'm not too familiar about the story. Also, like I literally at the end of the day, I understand like the publisher and the developer is super important, but at the end of the day, for me, it's more like, okay, is this game fun or not?
Yes. Yes.
And,
no, I mean,
it could be like from the best developer in the world. Then if I go and I'm bored, then I just stop playing. And so that's like for me one of the things why I also played free to play other games, but I was like more like Heroes Collector, AFK Arena, these lights.
I'm still heavily, I'm still heavily in AFK.
Really, AFK Arena?
Yeah,
the first one or the second one?
Well, I mean, they had they released what they referred to as companions past couple of days ago, and I've been playing that one. It's part of AFK Arena, but you can switch between the two on the same account. So you have like classic, and then they have companions.
Oh, I remember that. Like I stopped like a while ago, but I saw like they were trying to implement
they
like
just, the companions one just released like this past week.
Yeah. So
and
so for,
it's literally starting over,
let me
kind of
just
thing.
bring some context to the chat. For those that don't know,
Yeah.
like they are these mobile games. So pretty much like you just collect the heroes. It's like a gacha system. You get crests, you roll for them, and then it's like you
Yeah.
build a team of like 4, 5, or 6 heroes, and then you try to beat the boss or you try to beat the other team. So it's pretty much like strategy. I really enjoy those, by the way.
Yeah.
Like Diablo Immortal is the first one, except like I also tried Genshin Impact. I also tried like Honkai Star Rail. Like, but they are
Yeah.
not like my vibe. You know, like
Yeah.
I enjoy them. Like they had a cool story, and the best thing about, for example, Genshin Impact and why it got so popular is like, well, yes, cool characters. The
Yeah.
combat is crazy. Did you play the combat? Like,
No, I've seen it though.
the,
I thought about it myself for a very, very long time, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to get fully invested.
no,
So yeah.
thank God you didn't. First of all,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just one of the many, Yeah.
but even today, if you go play it, the combat is wild. Okay, like you
Yeah.
have different elements. You can make a team, and then it's like we have the water, then the electrical guy does. It's just
Yeah.
like it's very wild. It was like very out of the blue. Like that game felt like a PC game with like
Yeah.
better combat than any other game, and it was a mobile game. You know, so definitely push up the boundaries to even now what we have, for example, now on Immortal, right? Like we have a
Yeah.
mobile game that also it is on the PC, and now it feels like this like the new era that started with like Genshin Impact like years ago, right? So
Yeah.
going back a bit to your journey, you were saying that you started to play as a free to play because of the company, but there was something else. Like, do you think like you have more fun just by playing as a free to play and going and trying to beat spenders, or it's just like a personal goal?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both actually. That does put it pretty well there. I actually I like a challenge when it comes to these kind of things, and um I've grew up on the Diablo Immortal franchise. Well, not Diablo Immortal, Diablo franchise from the OG Diablo. So I'm a big fan of the entire lore. Well, maybe not until more recently with Diablo 4's direction, but
Uh-huh.
nonetheless.
Did you play the
But
expansion?
yeah. I didn't. I got Diablo 4 obviously when it first came out, and honestly, it saddens me, but the company has kind of gone a certain way, and I think that's
You
probably
get
going to be the
really
last one.
hooked up on the companies, man. Right?
Well, I
It
mean,
bothers you a lot.
I know some people that used to work there, and the horror stories and whatever behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. So it's like I understand from that aspect, and it does translate, in some way or shape or form into the full development cycles that they have to deal with, the horrible
Yeah.
grind that they get stuck with, and the pressure and everything else. And it's starting to show. The cracks are have made their way to the surface in this day and age. Of course, everything on the internet, we find out certain things, and it's obviously at this point pretty prevalent in how things have kind of unfortunately fallen out, and
Yeah. No.
it's just how it goes over the course of
Definitely,
time.
if you are like a Blizzard fan, like I played World of Warcraft Classic, and I played the
Yeah,
Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2. Like I was
yeah,
a little kid, okay?
yeah,
It was
yeah,
awesome. It was awesome.
yeah,
I loved it, right? So
yeah,
definitely, I feel like for me was after the Wrath of the Lich King when I stopped playing, and then I saw the
yeah.
Cataclysm, and I saw like then the pandas, and I was like, oh, okay, bro, no, like this is not the game that
That's
you know,
kind of how people felt about Diablo 3 when it came out. It was a little too
cartoonish.
cartoonish for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's where the company went a different direction, because the original people from Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, I think it was Blizzard North, they left. All the good ones left,
Oh,
in my
really?
opinion. Yeah, all the good ones left. They went on to do their own thing for obvious reasons and whatever else, and that's when you definitely saw like the complete change and shift. And it wasn't until the expansion came out for Diablo 3 is where they kind of reined it in.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, and then the same things kind of happened with Diablo 4 on its release, I think, too. And it's like, yeah, you guys still aren't there, and you're still not getting it, and that's just. So I played it. I played the first Diablo 4
Mm-hmm.
before, and I didn't touch the expansion. I was like, you know what? I'll
Fuck it.
watch the cutscenes. I'll watch the cutscenes on YouTube, cutscenes on YouTube, and that's
Mm-hmm.
all I honestly care about at this point is what direction they're going with the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had a general idea of how that was even going to go, and I'm like, yeah, okay, they're just kind of milking the cow with it at this point, and they're just going to slowly drip the content out. But at the same time, I'm not too happy with them charging people as much as they are just for the little bit that they give. So yeah,
Yeah, so I played both. Okay, I played
yeah,
pretty much every season since Diablo 4. I played the same way as I play Diablo Path of Exile. Okay,
yeah,
I go there, I play for, but I feel like with Path of Exile you get more breathing room. Like, you
yeah,
need like 1 week, maybe one, plus week if like if you're not like more playing more casually to make like your
yeah,
build to destroy everything to do the Uber bosses.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. But I felt like, for example, my fun was over like after 3-4 days, after
yeah,
Diablo 4. And the way I did it, like in the beginning, in the first like season, right, I played a lot. I level up every character to level 100, and it was
mhm.
fun because I was exploring the game. I didn't have anything to do, to be honest. So it was fun. But as the game kept progressing, I was just like, okay, I tried to stay invested, but I kind of started like getting a bit disconnected because it felt like, okay, I'm just gonna come back whenever they fix the game. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like with Diablo Immortal, I feel like in
Mhm.
so many ways is the first time that I come into the game that I'm not playing like day one.
Yeah,
So usually I'm like the day one hardcore guy, and
yeah,
I go through all the bad phases, like all the bug fixes and everything,
yeah,
and then you resent the game and all these things. Like, and after 2 years, like you just like
yeah,
are spamming on the Reddit, so, man, this fucking game sucks, blah
yeah,
blah. Uh, and I feel like it is completely valid because it's so frustrating that so many people, they still have like the same complaints now
mhm.
that they had like almost 2 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Matchmaking
yeah,
is still a problem. Oh, we have like 4 barbarians in my team, like,
yeah.
nonsense. So, but I feel like in many ways, from what I saw and what people told me, the game I feel lucky that
Yeah.
they say, yeah, but now you have random dungeons. You should see back in the day when you
Oh,
had
yeah.
like, oh, but now you have like this crafting system. Oh, you should see, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
didn't seem fun at all. So I want
Yeah.
to know like what is your sides on that.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, there's a ton of catch-up mechanics now, like a ton. Especially we see people in the Immortal Discord come in and say new players all the time recently, of course, and I think a lot of that kicked off with the introduction of Tempest.
Yeah.
But which is fine, but that's a whole monkey wrench with Tempest. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a ton of catch-up mechanics now that there never was before, and it doesn't take long at all. However, the biggest caveat is the normal gem grind. And
Mm.
your secondary stats are definitely gonna take a hit compared to
Yeah.
those of us who have been in it since day one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the largest hang up in comparison because you can look at anybody's secondary stats, especially whale smurfers, and
Yeah. It's massive.
secondary stats are
It's massive.
paramount above everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I actually never thought about that, but now that you bring it up, like, I feel
yeah,
like it's probably the only system. Maybe like you can also count resonance, but
yeah,
resonance, like, if you pay to win, like, of course, like,
yeah,
there needs to be some systems that they cannot maybe put everything like too easy to catch up. I feel like the resonance is fine, like, you
yeah,
start the game,
yeah.
you should start from the zero resonance. Like, I don't know any other gacha game like you have a catch up mechanic
They
system.
they gradually implemented a resonance, the stat crunch over the course of time, so it wasn't quite so punishing as it was because it was harder
Oh,
to get players to
oh,
compete. At the very start, Battlegrounds was open ended. Resonance was 100%. There was no crunch to the stat compression
oh,
at
the
all.
66, the strife, right?
Yeah, yeah. There
Oh.
was no strife for the very early
Sh-
going
So it's
at
like guild
launch, of
versus
course.
guild or vault, the same as you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they still didn't adjust that one fully. So Rite of Exile is still pretty rough at times because that I don't think is as much crunched as it is in day-to-day Battlegrounds.
no, I don't think so at all, because I
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I go into BGs, and even if I'm facing whales,
Yeah.
I can still have an impact. Okay, but if I go
Yep.
against like a 10k whale on a vault, I'm like the whole party just like literally gets destroyed. You know, like
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
no even like, oh, let's try to outsmart by pushing the no, there's no like, it's just like it's the dead match, right? That's what
Yeah.
vault is. So definitely
Well, especially as Immortals, the killer is lag. The killer is big, and the entire game has been lag. But still,
listen, my 5 months of Immortal was like
yeah,
terrible.
Yeah.
I even felt like I even listen to a point that I repaired my game. I went on Reddit to try to find like these things that you can go on your Nvidia,
yes,
the X, the
little
direct
tweaks.
yeah. I did that, and now I was booting the game like way faster because at some point it was like, man, it was taking, why is taking like 5 minutes to boot? So that fixed it, but inside the game the lag was crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's gotten progressively worse over time. I think they.
I think it's the cloak. I think it's the cloak. That's my best guess.
Yeah,
because
they need to maintenance their servers or something. Yeah, for sure. I think they need to replace some of them. Honestly, I think they've just been grinded down so much over the course of time that they've just taken a beating.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm happier as a shadow right now. I have no lag.
Oh yeah, I prefer Shadows over Immortals easily.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, like let's commit.
Immortals has too many time quests that you have to do
I
all
know.
the time.
Can we talk about a bit about that, because that's literally recently I made a video and I touched that point, and I saw your video yesterday, and I think also we align in many points, because maybe we also have like similar experience because we are both free to play and then also players in all these things. So what do you think? Like, I have a huge beef, which was like the terror rifts, which okay, listen, we can complain a lot, but it was a good change. It was a rare, very rare Blizzard W to change to 24 hours. Of course, like there are still some tweaks here and there, you know, that they can do. Maybe respawn like spawn like the spire like in the same place for everyone. You know, make things more easy. But overall, big W. So, but I want my Sunday nights back. You know. It is a pain in the ass. Like, it is my family day, and a lot of times I have to, you know, or usually I don't like to lie, so I literally even like sometimes. Listen, I'm 30 something now. I don't even know, like, for sure, but so. It's kind of weird for you to say to your grandpa, hey, I got a war, you know, so I have this game that I play, and I need like 20 minutes, and it's like, what are you gonna do? You know? So it is a bit uncomforting, but now they just got used to. But I didn't get used to. I didn't get used to it at all, and that's why I even thought like in the future to maybe just do like a casual community clan or something, and and not bother with it, you know, because I feel like personal life is still more important than any game.
Yeah, I get asked all the time, every time, pretty much, in our clan discords and Mortal discords and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, are you signing up? And where you gonna be there, right? You're gonna be there, and it's like, I'll be there all the time. And then the times when like I'm ready to go, and then I don't hear anything. Like, am I in here? It's like, oh no, we're gonna rotate some other people in this time so they can get, you know, credit for like badges and whatever else. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll just, you know, disappear for a couple weeks on a Sunday. Then that's fine by me.
Yeah.
I got mine in already. I'm cool.
By the way, getting the 12% shadow badge is a pain in the ass. I just like, okay, I don't want.
I heard they changed it somewhat recently, but I have my doubts.
No,
I'm still showing like Impact is not finished yet, and I'm like, because we're on we got like 3 more weeks, I think, 3 or 4 more, 3.5 more weeks left as Immortal. Well, 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks.
Yeah, at this point, I just, you know,
it's just nothing but handshaking,
yeah,
handshaking and backstabbing is all it is. As far as like the Immortal reigns go, it's just a whole political nonsense in game. It's like,
So we're talking about Immortals. We're talking about like the progression and all these things, and sometimes we go into BGs or we go into Rite of Exiles, and then, you know, you just get a slap in the face, and then you're like, man, doesn't matter how much I try, how much I min max, there are
Oh,
certain whales that we cannot beat. You know, I feel like for
Yeah.
me, it is like I think you're what 3K resonance right now, something like that.
No, I'm only 2068 in Battlegrounds.
20. Oh, okay. So you're 2000,
2068.
2000. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm almost 1000. I'm 965. So for me, a whale is anything above. It's like I cannot beat. Like it doesn't matter. Like anything above like 5K, especially 5K. Above 5K, anything is a whale for me. So I made my peace. But what I want to ask you is like, you've been playing this for 2 years and a half almost, right?
Yeah.
So did you ever felt at any point, even in on skins, cosmetics, or to spend money?
No, it honestly, it never really interested me, and for various reasons. But I don't know. The skins, when I've done some kind of like, I'll just bring it to some people's attention, like, oh, we got a new battle pass coming up, and I just wanted to put this out there for the cosmetics and whatever else, and then it's just nothing but like hate, and it's like, oh, they're terrible, blah blah. I hear it all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I get you, and I can see it too, and then, of course, they kind of ruined it, honestly, even further with the whole Phantom Market.
Yeah.
The obscene amounts with that. And it's like, no, you're just not gonna sell me on it. I am sorry, but
And about
every time I
the
get like
resonance,
the free
wings.
emote, I'm like, oh boy, I got an emote for chat to use. And it's like, oh.
And what about the resonance? Did you ever got tempted like to run?
I like working the system as I have up to this point. I just do the purple crests with the elder rifts to build up the dust to craft them up as much as possible, and I do it that way. And of course I get the orange crests through events and the hilt trader and all that kind of stuff over time, and I just been gradually building up some stuff. I've never gotten the benefit though, or the luck, because that's what it boils down to. It's huge RNG luck, and this is just everything about the entire game from start to finish. For my 5-star gems, the highest one I have is a 4 out of 5-star bile, and I got that off the market when I had enough platinum built up, and it was low, and at the time it was low.
So it was this like 2 months ago? Whenever like
no, I had it long before that.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Because I actually had at the early outset of the game, I was selling off very, very early, and I stopped that, and I'm glad I did. For the normal gems, I was selling them off for platinum.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I was like, okay,
huge mistake. Huge mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I didn't do it for very long at all, because my secondary is currently. It's nice that I have the game up here. My secondaries, I'm sitting at like
3,000,
4,400 on armor and potency, and my resistances are about 3,400.
Okay, so it's like 4,000s and on the top armor and armor pen, and then you have like 3,000s and something.
Oh, the armor pen and potency is my highest ones.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think that works better in a sense for wizard.
Yeah, I feel like like now is easy to look back and say, yeah, it's such a horrible mistake to ever sell your normal gems, right? But back then, everyone, especially going back maybe 1 year or even more, like everyone put like a resonance above everything.
Yes.
And until someone, like a nerdy guy goes out there and he finds like these hidden mechanics, because like, well, they are not transparent inside the game. So now is obvious, like looking forward. But the major issues for the beginners and new players, and that's why I try to create content that I wish I had back then, is that whenever you go into YouTube and you search, I don't know, any contents, the thing that is going to appear on top, like, okay, Diablo Immortal mistakes, for example, the first videos will be videos from like, especially like 2 years ago, from the release the time, and those are like completely obsolete, super outdated, and it's just... I fell into that trap, and I feel like every player does, because like that's what people do. Like, you download the game, you go onto YouTube, maybe like you want to figure out something, you type Diablo Immortal something guide, and you're just gonna click in the one that you see like is on the top or the first two or whatever, and then this advice was everywhere. oh yeah, sell your normal gems to get plat, and then you get the resonance from like the legendary gems. But this is just like one small bit of like why I hope that in the future we're gonna have like more content creators. So we just populate like the we have to go push like the new content like
Yeah.
up on the
Yeah, yeah.
search. Otherwise it will always be terrible for new players. So I want to ask you, like, what was it like for you? Did you ever did like a mistake like that you really regret in Diablo Immortal, except playing the
Well,
game?
no. I've actually enjoyed it, and like I said, when it comes to like dealing with whales and whatever else, I mean, I've usually gotten thrown in against 9, 10Ks like a lot, and I know I'm the filler, and that's for the
Yeah.
matchmaking system or whatever else, which I'm fine with.
Yeah,
And
filler,
I
bro,
actually don't.
filler fist.
Yeah, yeah. I actually like the times when I can catch them slipping. That's the thing that I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
When I can get them just in the right spot, in the right position. Of course, with my wizard, I'm complete glass, so it's a lot of AOE's, but and dots. But that's
Yeah.
what works for me, and that's what I enjoy. And plus, I don't play the usual meta for wizard either when it comes to that. And I hate the term meta. I really, really do.
It
But then
sells.
again, at the same time,
It sells.
yeah, there's only so much that it kind of pigeonholes you into a certain thing, and there's like no deviation, and then there's like no real fun behind it.
Mm-hmm. No,
But yeah, the thing that I regret the most, of course, obviously, is selling off the normal gems early on. I stopped that really, really early.
like,
So
like what?
I'm
Which
happy
month?
about that I did, but I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made whatever I could out of it. Most of the times, though, I was selling the not the rare, but
The red one?
legendary gems I would get with running crests. I'd put those in the market, and that's where I made most of my platinum way back. And even a lot of those now I've been kind of holding on to, and I keep myself at about, I don't know, I'm at 108,000. No, 108,000 platinum right now, I think. Something. Yeah, 108,000 platinum currently. So.
Yeah. You just don't
And,
buy like I see so many people like it's the dumbest comment that I get is like, oh, this guy definitely is not free to play because he has like 80 I have like 80,000 or something, and you have like 100,000, right? Like it's just so simple. And like I get this question, I'm sure you get to, like, oh, can you please do a guide like to do it's I don't know if you do like anything like super robust. I know that we can go into the alts things. I but in the I don't have alts.
Oh no.
I'm
minor collecting dust.
Yeah. No, I always felt like this game already takes like so much time for you to like just min max one character that if you go into this rabbit hole of like the alts, or you're jobless and or you don't have a life, and and then you're just gonna grind like 4, 5, 6 alts, and because you just want to push as high as you can. But I feel like if you go through that route, you're gonna end up on a day, like you said, you just end up like, okay, if I keep going like this, I'm gonna burn out, right? Like, is that what you felt?
I don't know how some have done it. I know of a couple in particular that had the alts and they did the alt grind, and they did the whole trading the normal gems to themselves, their main account and whatever else. So their secondary stats are like obscenely high for their resonance. Like there's one in particular that's around, usually runs an average of like 3K resonance, and their secondaries are like 55 to 65, 100.
That's crazy.
Secondaries.
Is it free to play?
I wouldn't say
no,
that.
It must be like a heavy grinder
like
with some spending. Yeah,
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, maybe like a dolphin.
Mini dolphin, yeah.
Yeah, I see. No, but I feel like for example, for me, if you're talking about how do I make plat, like I just sell everything that is unbound except like the normal gems. No, like I don't do anything special, and I do my dailies. I get like that 300 plat, and hopefully you're gonna get a legendary rune, a gold rune, or a 5-star that you can sell, and then whenever you have that, then you have like the big chunk of like plat that you can then go buy whatever you want. But above all,
I've never seen a 5-star ever. If I ever get one on this character, on my main especially, because I think I had a 4 or 5 drop in one of my alts, and I'm like, really? I was like, that's the first character ever that I got a 4 or 5-star gem out of, and it was on one of my alts, of course. And I
Oh,
was like,
oh, that's
and
so.
I've
Oh my
never,
god.
ever seen anything close. The closest I've ever gotten on my main, like I said, aside from the one I got off the market, was I think maybe a 3 out of 5, and that's
Mm.
the highest I've ever seen the
Yeah, same
entire
for
time I've
me.
been playing the game. So I'm just like, no.
Do you know that yesterday on the stream, on the mirror jewels, I got the rolling consequence and a
Yeah.
double. I was stoked, like because for me, I'm only gonna build like most likely 2 gems. Gonna be the Bloodsoak Jade
Yeah.
5-star and the
Yeah.
rolling consequence. I think like those are the 2 best. Because I
I
don't
had to craft mine with the
Turtleik?
pearls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was planning to. Because I feel like Roiling Consequence is just like so good, man. It's just
Yeah.
like it's.
I didn't realize how good it was until I started trying it out too. And at first I was a little skeptical, and I didn't change to that one until sort of recently. So yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday I just like. I feel like I don't count pities for the reason. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's just like I rarely do the gambling. So whenever I go into the gambling, I literally don't want to know. Like I want to be.
It's more enjoyable that way. It's more,
I know, right?
You get that dopium.
Oh, it's like usually.
dopamine.
Oh, the
Dopamine, yeah.
dopamine is like
Yeah.
I literally went and I started jumping on the bed like a little kid, man. I got so happy.
See, that's
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the gambling. Like
that's a much better. Well, yeah, the gambling part of it aside from that, but I mean, that's a much better. That's a much better approach, I think, to a lot of games today that kind of got lost. It's like people are always asking for, oh, what's the meta build? I want to. It's like, do you want to play the game, or do you want to take the easiest approach to it and not even think for your own, and try to have fun actually playing the game instead of somebody just like spoon feeding you.
100% agree with you, man. The word fun has been lost in gaming.
Oh yeah.
It's still here, like in some games, but what I'm trying to say is like right now most games, and for example, like yesterday I was saying like mirror jewels coming like as often as they are coming, it's not because they are being good for the players, it's just because it makes them more money. Okay, like literally. Like unless you're like these blind,
I haven't done mine yet either, so I'm curious to see what I'm gonna be able to pull out.
Maybe you're gonna get the rolling consequence as I did,
I hope so. I'd like to get something more than just the 2 out of 5 that I had to craft.
But it feels like everything nowadays, every feature, every new thing that they put is like always like monetization. Like it's like the first layer that they think is how are we gonna monetize, and then how are we gonna build a system that will support the monetization, instead of being like it was before. Like, okay, how can we make this the most fun? So I feel like those things are is what I'm saying. Like I feel like the fun got a bit lost with like marketing companies, like business. So in this sense I completely agree with you, and I feel like that's also one of the reasons, like,
don't
for
you
me.
guys have phones?
Don't you guys have phones? It is 800% value. But that's one of the reasons why I love to support like a company like Path of Exile, Grinding Gear Games, right? I paid for the packs, man. Like it's like I rarely do, man. I pay for the game, okay? But Path of Exile is a free game, okay? It makes your life better if you buy the tabs, a few tabs, like. But man, it's gonna be like it's just a minimum. You pay like what, like 10 euros or something, and then it's gonna be fine. But I played the game, I enjoyed it so much, and it's like, you know what? I don't even want this fucking skin. I just want you guys to make a better game. And
I'm looking forward to 2 whenever it finally
I think everyone.
releases.
I think I think it's gonna blow up, or the Diablo 4 does something like incredible, which I feel like they did better. Okay, the expansion I played it. I didn't play as much as I played Diablo original Diablo 4. But it is better. Okay, it still has the same bugs. Like it's still a RPG. Okay. But
it didn't cook long enough when they were developing it.
That
showed.
It still feels like Diablo 4 in many ways, and also
Yeah.
in a bad ways, you know. And I feel like in that sense, Path of Exile just delivers a more refined experience for ARPG, especially if you are like very into mid maxing and manipulating. And as you were saying, I don't want to be spoon fed. I just want to explore. But in Path of Exile, let's be honest, like in the beginning,
the skill tree is just
you better
insane.
take the spoons at first, so you understand the game, and then
that's because it's been out for as long as it has.
Yeah. So so do you play what are like games that do you only play Diablo Immortal nowadays, or do you also like dip your toes here and there?
I see. I've been playing. Let's see, First Ascendant recently.
Looks fun though.
Throne and Liberty. I've been playing that. a little bit too,
tell me more about it, because I was willing to try.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's let's see, NCSoft is the ones that did Throne and Liberty, so they have a track record of certain things as well. But that's par for the course anymore. But no, I've been enjoying that one only because I get to play a proper. I feel like more of a proper spellcaster wizard in that game.
So you're like any game you play, you're like wizard Andy.
Yes.
Like okay.
I prefer magic. I prefer all the things involved.
Okay. I'm the barbarian, bro.
Whether it's viable or not, I will try to make it viable, and in any game that I can. I would play Dark Souls 3 at one point, and of course I did like an invisible wizard build in that game. And that was pretty fun, just like stealth shotting bosses and whatever else. But yeah, I prefer casters in any kind of game that I can. Like even with First Ascendant, Viessa, she's the she does a bunch of ice spells and whatever, or she casts Blizzard and ice shards and whatever else. And I was like, yeah, it's close to about a mage in this game currently that I'm gonna get, and I prefer playing her anyway. So it's just what I'm drawn to, and that's what brings me to the funny thing we see all the time, like, oh, what class should I play? Oh, what class should I play? And it's like, play what you want to play.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you drawn to? What do you play in your other games?
What is the best class?
Yes, that I see that we see that all the time in the Immortal Discord, and it's like, oh, just can we not?
Yeah.
Just play what you want.
I always give like both answers, because I at some point I was like, just play whatever is the most fun for you. Like whatever you think is the coolest, just go with it. But then
we didn't have the 24-hour class change back when the game first came out. It was like I forget what it was. I know it was at least a week at one point.
Yeah, well, it was a week. When I started to play, it was a week.
Yeah, and then I forget if it was even longer than that at launch. I don't remember, but it might have been a week then even. But still, it's like now it's 24 hours. So it's like there's no harm, no foul in it. Just pick something and go.
Yeah, but I feel like if you have not played a game that has like that multi-class change mechanic inbuilt, for example, Final Fantasy has that. So if you come from Final Fantasy, you know like more or less how the game.
I played Final Fantasy 14 online. So yeah.
You did? I haven't, but I saw Asmongold playing it.
Oh jeez, yeah.
No, it's just like, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10.
I grew up on 7.
Like, how old are you more or less? You're like on the 30s or 40s. Like, you don't need to disclose, but you are from the 90s or 80s.
Slightly above 40s, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you being so whenever like these games were
been around.
Whenever these games like they were on their prime, like you were already a teenager, right? So you were already a fucking gaming. You were gaming.
Yeah. No, I grinded the hell out of Final Fantasy 7. I would.
Oh my god, it was so good, right?
I would get those stat ups, and I literally would. I grinded so much that I had like 999 stats on like most of the main characters.
It was.
I was like, you are not stopping me. I am untouchable, Sephiroth. You're going down, and like. And then I had the quad.
The meteor.
The quad magic. I had the quad magic with the Knights of the Round, and then it was just. And then you sit there and walk away for like 5-10 minutes while the whole thing plays out, the entire cutscenes, as many times it would cast.
Yeah, man, what a game! What a game it was!
Oh yeah, I mean it was iconic. And then of course they did the rebirth of it recently in the remake. And that's an interesting twist with that storyline that they're going with, and I'm kind of curious to see where that goes.
I feel like did you felt that like on PlayStation 2? I think by then, it was just like Final Fantasy was like beyond every game. There's like in terms of everything, like the graphics, the story, the mechanics. It was just like there was nothing that was even close to what was the game, because like the first Final Fantasies I played. Okay, so I'm gonna tell like a quick story. There was one time I was in the supermarket and I was already playing like the Final Fantasy 6 or something, and I saw like the Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, like they looks like a pack, and I was like almost crying in the supermarket for my mom to buy it. Okay, like you know that annoying kid, like I was never like, I never asked for anything, but whenever I saw something that I really wanted, which was like very once in a while, I like, she actually bought it, and then I played and I reached home and it's like a 2D bullshit thing, and I started crying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I was expecting to be like 3D or I don't know, like I was just a little kid, like I didn't think about it. So that was funny. Like I still have that trauma. With Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3. But but there was, what I'm trying to say is the same, for example, as a GTA, like from the GTA 2 to the Vice City.
Vice City.
It was just like, holy shit, like we go from 2D to 3D, where you have like a city, you can go like to the Malibu club and all these things, like definitely. I felt this is like a very boomer talk, because like we felt the transition from like the 2D to the 3D, and it was just like a new world that just opened, and it was just so fun. So like in that era, what was like your favorite games back then?
Oh man, I actually have the original Diablo on PlayStation disc. I still have that around here somewhere.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I played it on PC. That's the one I grew up on. Was and that's honestly my. I was really young.
I still didn't play it.
I played the original. I love the original one. I even got it off of GOG for like $5. And it was, and I still have it. And there's a mod out for it, of course. Now I never messed around with yet, but I really want to. But yeah, I look back at that fondly with rose-colored glasses and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I like the first one and the second one, of course, and that's where I'm glad to see GGG took Path of Exile from, was the darker aspect of Diablo 2, and then they of course picked up from where they left off and ran with it. So that's why Path of Exile, I think, is doing as good as it has over the course of time, because so many people preferred Diablo 2, and then they even brought, of course, and that's why Blizzard came around and said, "Oh yeah, we brought Diablo 2 resurrected back here. Look, guys." It's like, yeah.
Did you play that? People are saying
I didn't play the resurrected version. I played Diablo 2 for years, and that's when I used to use save our characters on the floppy disks and go to like a friend's house or whatever else.
And load the game.
Bring it up. Yeah. And then we'd load our saves. And then it's like, and then sometimes I'd even create another character for my one friend because I was so far ahead. And I was like, oh, what do you want? And he's like, I want a barbarian. I was like, all right, I'll make one real quick. And then I'd make one, play it for a little while, and build it up to where I was at. And then I'd save it to the disc and bring it with me and be like, here you go.
Oh,
you
that's
can play
so
this
cool.
guy. It's like, all right, cool, man.
That was so cool. Like I feel like I was lucky enough that when I was a kid, like my mom moved like into to a different neighborhood, which was like slightly better than the one we were, definitely. So here there was like multiple kids, and I feel like I got like super lucky because there was the chance that games, it's not like when you're a kid, like everything is expensive, like you have to always be asking. So what we did, like on the street, we were like 10 kids, right? So we used to ask make a list of, like, we used to buy every month one of us will buy like those gaming magazines,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we used to get the guides, the
yeah.
codes,
The demo discs.
the demo disc. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
uh and we used to rotate, like this month I buy, and or the okay, John, you're gonna buy like this game, and then I'm gonna buy like Unreal Tournament, and the other guy, and then we just keep going like to each other's houses and play. It was just like, I think in that sense I got a very blessed childhood,
Mhm.
no matter what. And games was like a huge part. They are still in
Yeah.
for like a few years after I finished college. I told myself, okay, now it's like real life. We're gonna be professional.
Oh yeah.
I
Nah.
want to have a career. And
Gaming's for life.
yeah, no, gaming is for losers. Like I gotta
Oh
be
no,
a
no, no.
in no, not that, but I felt
Yeah.
like, okay, I want to focus this, and
Yeah.
gaming like
It's
definitely
a yeah.
got in the
There's been
way.
a shift. There's
Yeah,
definitely been a shift over the course of time, of course,
yeah,
with like we say YouTube, Twitch, all the things is like gaming is a big part of like a lot of people's lives, and
yeah,
people grew up in certain things along the way with them, and it affects people on various different levels, and it literally kind of makes us into somewhat of how we are today,
yeah.
just by growing up in those things and those stories that we get invested to, and those things of that nature. And it's like think of games as like movies for some people, and I don't know. It's just it's
Yeah,
a culture for
but
sure.
you remember, like, if you played games in the 90s or the
Oh
2000s, you
yeah,
were a loser. Like, you were a nerd, you were a loser. Like, nobody cared. So in that sense,
I've
like
always been a lone wolf, so that's
uh I
yeah,
no, like, it was very hard. Like, I didn't even share that I played games in
yeah,
high school,
yeah,
like, I was very scared, unless like I found like, then like one that became one of my friends, then we started
yeah,
playing World of Warcraft together, and it was just like
yeah,
but if we were around people, we never spoke, because it was like that bad. um but like, then as I started getting to become an adult and having a career, then I built like
yeah,
my own company.
mm,
But I it didn't play, but I always consumed gaming content.
yeah,
That's why
yeah, yeah.
I really enjoyed, and I started watching streams, like Twitch
Hmm.
streamers.
Yep.
I still watch, for example, like League of Legends finals. It is being played now. I played
Oof.
League of Legends for like a few years, like 2 years.
Hmm.
But I just like, sometimes like to watch like some esports scene.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sometimes I just watch like a random Counter Strike final. It's just because it's hyped. Um,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
was all, even though I didn't play anything for 7 years, man. Can you imagine that?
Ah,
But I
yeah.
always was like on Twitch, but
Hmm.
I just felt like I couldn't, and if I would, I'll be like letting people down, and
Ah, yeah, yeah,
it led
yeah.
me to a shithole that I had a company, and I was fucking sad and miserable. Okay, so
Mm,
so
yeah.
moving forward, I did what I had to do to change my life and to be happy. Was like, I just fucking closed the company, and I decided, okay, this is not worth it. I'm gonna do something else. And
Yeah.
well, a few years passed, and now I'm here playing video
Mm.
games, not as a
Yep.
living yet, but maybe one day.
Yep.
Who knows? But definitely connected with someone that I really enjoy. To be honest, like, you were one of the few content creators that
Mm.
because I'm that kind of viewer that I enjoy discussion, I enjoy
Yeah.
conversation, I
Mm.
enjoy long videos, so for me, I was drawn into your content because of that. And if you see my videos, most of the times it's just like 40 minutes. Why? Because it is what it has to be. Like, why do I could do 4 minutes videos, but I just don't, because that's not what I enjoy as a viewer, and I don't enjoy as a creator. And I feel like you do things in your own way, and
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, of course I get, a little bit of flack every now and again, from the other side of things, like, "Oh, you should wait, not spending anything in the game, or you're not, supporting the company." And I was like, they have enough. They have enough.
Bro, they don't need your
Um,
money. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, in their well, the people above them, maybe in their minds they do all the
Yeah.
time, but
No,
Yeah, and that's the thing that brings me back around to the Mirror Jewel event. I think they're gonna. I know in China they do this every month, and they usually do it. At least they were, and I don't know if they still are. The last I heard, anyway, they would do it on the first of the month, and it would run all day.
that's crazy.
And that's how they get people to, just dump
Spend,
money
spend.
on that day. And yeah, like
Chink,
nonstop.
chink,
I'm
ching.
glad they don't do that. If they ever implement that on global, that's probably going to be a sad thing. But
I think it's coming.
yeah,
Like if
I
like
hope not. I really
if
hope
you
not.
see that there's things, I feel like they are trying to merge more and more. But they definitely use like China is like the beta tests, and then
Yeah,
if
it
it
is, for
works
sure.
well, then they implement here. But
Yeah.
the thing like that we don't have, we cannot forget is like how different the audience and the culture is. Like
Yeah.
over there, if you don't spend or if you're not strong, like then
Yeah.
you are actually a loser. Because like that's like the culture, like they do everything with the phone. The
Yeah.
apps like in the Western we like I'm a UX UI designer, right? So for example, in the West, like we like to have one app for everything. In China, they have like what we call super apps. Like is one app does everything. Uber, WhatsApp, even gaming, Amazon. It's like everything is one app, and they really enjoy that. So since they were kids, this has been going for like 20 years. So now the new gamers, they are just like mobile. No, doesn't exist desktop there almost. It's just like everything is like mobile, spending. So it is crazy.
It's ingrained. It's unfortunate in that aspect anyway. It's unfortunate that they've kind of grew up in that mentality, and it's just been programmed. Unfortunately, I think at this point for them. They've always been ahead over there as far as that goes, but then because that's what they've always, and that's why anytime games have been created, it's like we always hear about like, oh yeah, they're making this over in like Japan, and they're making this over there in China, and then we'll eventually get it over here in the West, a year or two later. But then a lot of games, of course, how they operate, I think, is they'll do a lot of their games are usually in alpha state, and then that's considered done, and then they move on to whatever else is next, and then to us, it's like, wait a minute, this is busted as all hell. No, this can't be finished. It's like, oh yeah, it is. And it's like, okay.
It isn't, but they say it is, and then they will spend the next year trying to fix the game.
Yeah, that's definitely it too.
No, so that goes back to what I was saying. Like, I'm glad that I started playing this game almost 2 years after, right? Because I'm probably playing like a much better version than whatever it was. So you were saying that
as much as we complain, it's quite actually an improvement from what it was.
And I feel like maybe it's because I'm new and I don't have the whole heavy baggage, I will always complain about the things that I feel like they have to change, and I will always praise whenever, because like if you're always whining about everything, even when they do certain good things, then I feel like your opinion is not like very valid, because you're just too biased to your own personal feelings. So I feel like we have to be pragmatic, and whenever they do good, we should praise them, and whenever they do bad, we should like be here on their asses.
It's a fine line.
It's hard
to ride sometimes.
It is. But I feel like it is
I got
important.
a lot of flack sometimes for like, oh, you sound too negative. I was like, I'm sorry, but there's certain things that should have been improved a while ago, and they still haven't. And trying to not try to harp on it too much, and I actually have been trying to be a bit more positive overall. And then there's times when I bring up like, hey, look, we got a new community manager, and that went over like a lead balloon. It's like, okay, yeah. I mean, I get it, because it's like they're basically just PR at this point, and they show up like the other one did before. But no.
Yeah, it is definitely inbuilt frustration over time, right? Like, so if I go, for example, to Reddit the other day, I saw a thread, and he was asking for how long do you been playing Diablo Immortal, and 92 or 93% was like plus 2 years. And and that's like I've been in the mobile space, you probably too, and how Reddits, subreddits are after like 2 years of the game being launched. Like they are all like, it's like the hardcore community.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of it as passionate.
That's the marketing word that the Diablo 4 they use.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Okay, whenever someone comes like and criticize something, especially
Mm.
when you spend thousands of hours, of
Yeah.
course it is like you're passionate about the game, and
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
passion comes irrationality sometimes. You know, like
Yeah.
you just speak with your feelings, and I'm also like, listen, I suffer sometimes from that, but it is. You know, it is a trend, you know, and
Yeah.
for me, going back to what I was trying to say, like as a new player, I have a fresh mind, I have a fresh perspective, and from
Yeah.
what I see, like in the past 3 months especially, I
Mm.
think there's been a certain effort to add a bit more quality of life. And of course, like we still have bugs, you know, the
Yeah.
one I you showcased yesterday, like that's kind of, that's ridiculous, you know, like
Well,
how that
that
build goes into
was
life, right? And like,
that was game breaking.
yeah, exactly. It
I
shouldn't
don't know
even
what triggered it. And yeah, I think it might have been the event center starting over and the mirror jewels somewhere in there when they put the coding in. I don't know.
Mhm.
They it definitely, that was game breaking,
Yeah,
and they had to, get off their hands and actually
yeah.
mobilize and fix that right away. And I'm honestly surprised that they
How
didn't
quick
have
it
to take it
was.
down.
It was quick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quick.
I'm surprised they didn't have to take it down for maintenance. So obviously it was something that they were able to find fairly quickly,
Yeah,
and they didn't have to, put the game on,
yeah.
maintenance to fix
I'll
it.
tell you
So,
something. Working in tech, I did for many years, and bugs, bro.
mm, yeah,
They like that's one of the biggest things that I think I got like years of happiness back, just because it was so super frustrating when you're working with like I used to build like web apps and mobile apps and things, and things like for the business, and it was just like it made money, of course, but it was just like super daunting because there's
mm,
always something, some use case, something that you could have tested better and you didn't, and
yeah,
then there's like this random lady that you know is like this internet explorer from like dinosaur
oh
age,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
now of course the JavaScript is not going to be compatible with that fucking thing, you know. So uh so it was rough. So in that sense, I have some
mm,
empathy, you know, towards like the development, because
yeah,
I got some insights. I know what is to, I don't know how it is to develop a game, but I know how it is to
mm,
develop like technology, the infrastructure, server side, etc., etc.
yeah,
But still, I'm a customer.
yeah,
I'm a fucking customer. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
act the same way that they do, that they did with
Yeah,
me. You know,
yeah.
we have the rights to complain when we are not satisfied.
We're the end user or whatever, and it's like, yeah, we see things that are out of line. It's like, wait a minute, this should have been. Why isn't this better tested? And why?
Yeah.
How did this make it into the game? And oh my god, and
Yeah,
blah, blah,
but it's only like that things improve, you know, because
yeah,
if you don't have but the only thing I want to say in general for the community is like there
yeah,
are ways to say things, you know, and
mm,
criticism is valid, even like sometimes like
yeah.
negative criticism, as long as it comes from like a constructive perspective.
Constructive criticism. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's I think like what is the most important thing, because like just I will
You can
if
scream at a wall all day long, and it's
yeah,
like,
because imagine you were like the new community manager, right? Like
oh man, he got thrown to the wolves, honestly.
yeah, you
Which
just,
I
just
mean,
jump in, you
yeah,
never play the
yeah.
game, and all of a
Yeah, and then they
sudden
said, "Oh, I'm gonna start playing the game." Now that I will say, I don't know how far they've made it since they
yeah.
said they took the job. And it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start playing the game." It's like, oh, "Okay, well that's cool. That's nice to hear," but we haven't heard too much of that lately. And it's like, "Well, how far are you exactly? Where
So,
are you at now?"
yeah, are you mid maxing? Are you
Yeah,
watching my guides? No,
yeah,
no. Okay, in that sense, I don't think. Okay, I don't think it's necessary that you have to be playing the game to actually be a good community manager, because maybe sometimes like some different perspective, you know, a more like casual and the perspective that just drop into the
yep,
game can be a bit refreshing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in certain things, I feel like it will create like a huge gap between, because he's a new player, he's new to the
yeah,
game, and is a new player. So or you have a lot of empathy to understand what is like the concerns and the problems, which I feel like after a few months to get into the community, you start getting the grip of it.
Yeah.
And
Well, you should
it's
have a
better to
general
have one than
idea
not to
at
have
least.
one, because you
Yeah.
guys were saying before, like we felt like we didn't had one, and I think now at least
Oh yeah.
we have someone that maybe it's trying, but I see a
The
lot of
other
like
one only
negatives.
showed up when things went really bad, and it's like,
Oh, it's like the
hi.
fireman. The fireman, like
Yeah.
when a house is like this on fire, like it comes in, they say,
Yeah.
"This is fine." You know, like that meme.
Oh,
This
in
is fine.
Southeast Asia, the entire region was down for a while back for like days on end, and nobody could play. And then, of course, they had to come out and say, "Oh, we're trying to fix it, guys." And then they came out of the woodwork, and it's like, "Oh, there you are." And then we all got the paltry, generic mail in game, like, "Oh, here's a crest and a couple gems and whatever else. Sorry for the inconvenience." And it's like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's all you gave these?" It's like everybody got the same mail, and I'm like, "All right, well." I think they deserve a lot more, but okay.
yeah.
And then I seen we got the mail today for, oh, sorry about the problems you had like yesterday, our record show, blah blah. And I got an apologies mail in game, and let's see, we got a legendary crest, we got 2 rare crests, mystery legendary item, mystery set item, 500 dust, and
500 dust again, man. I wish I had that whenever I was leveling up my gear.
Oh. Oh yeah, well that's the other thing being a day one player is like we didn't have the luxury of the new ones coming in. They get the bonus for a long while of extra mats.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're like, oh, it takes so long. I'm like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. You weren't there.
No, that's true. Like I did it like very fast. I did it in but I know like I had the boost until like level 16 or something.
Yeah.
So like
I forget what it was. Yeah.
So for me, it felt like okay. I'll tell you something. I feel like the bonus ends up into a. It goes from like 200% or no, it's like 400, 200, and then 100, and then like 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the 200 to 0, it is like very quick, and then all of a sudden you just are it just feels bad. Because all of a sudden it's like super slow, like imagine you have like a Bugatti, and all of a sudden you can only go at like 20 miles per hour, So
it's a sharp drop off. Yeah. They should have kind of.
It's like a line, right? Like it starts like the beginning of the game, but it's like that's how they do mobile games, Like they like the first 3 days of any mobile game that you guys wanna play is like fucking incredible. It's like holy shit, this is so addicting. Like they give us everything, even their mom, like it's like everything is in the game. Like throw us the bonus, free things. It's so, man, I love to start new games though.
That's with that's actually with any game. It's like that's the most polished. That's the things that had the most work put into them when in creating any game. That's the most work. The most work goes into it at the very beginning, and you can tell. And then you see a lot of games, especially lately, the end game is like almost non-existent. Because they had
early game, mid game, and no game.
The door.
Yeah,
they had to rush it out the door, and whenever they're developing, and of course that's publisher pressure and whatever deadlines and everything else, and you can tell though, and it's like, man, a lot of these games, it's like, oh yeah, the greatest part of the game is usually like the first couple areas of it, and then after that it kind of just drifts. And it's like, well, they'll eventually catch up hopefully and add to it, but
and that's where the D4 bad meme came in. Because like early game, mid game, and no game.
When that game came out, I was like, all right, cool, and I actually stepped away from Immortal for a little bit when it came out, and I was all excited because I was like, hey, back to whatever, let's see how this goes. And then not long after is when they did the whole massive nerf to everything with no upside. And I was like, and then they had to come out and they did their little pouty face and said, oh, we're sorry, guys, we won't do this to you again. And then that's
I remember.
The campfire chats came back.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I know I know the exact person, and I know the exact fire chat that you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you guys shot yourselves in the foot on that one, really, really bad. And then that's pretty much what did it for me. And I was like, well, I see where this is going. It's going to be an up and down thing with them for a while, and that's what we've come to expect, especially with how Diablo 3 went. And I'm like, I'm going back to Immortal. I'll see you.
Yeah. So I feel like it's unfair like comparing both games, Immortal and Diablo 4, because
Yeah.
unless you didn't play one of them, you're like
Mhm.
you're gonna compare them, because if you played both
Yeah.
games, you will like, it's so obvious, like they are completely distinct experience.
Yeah.
One is more like a MMO, like like every day you progress with your own character, and the other one is seasonal, like you build up
Yeah.
characters, you make them strong, and in 4 days, or you stop playing the game, or you make a new character, or if you're like very like true min maxing, you can go, but the thing is, like, again, there is no real end game. Like the pit
Yeah.
system, like like now they have like this pit system, which is like from 0 to 200. It's man, it's not fun. Okay, at the end of the day, that's what it matters. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
There's no leaderboard
Yeah.
even, and it's not fun to push that shit. Like, it's just like the way they scaled that was, your character is the same, everything is the same. It's just
Yeah.
like the bosses now have way more life, and pretty much they do way more damage. That's it.
Yeah.
They are just more beefier. So it's just not fun. And going back here to the other side, to Immortal, right? Like,
Mhm.
I just feel like I kind of want sometimes to have a bit of a challenge. Like, if you're stronger
Yeah.
than me, like, you'll literally blast everything. So I'm trying to
I
push.
try.
No, but I'm sure, like especially PV. I'm talking about
Yeah.
PV experience. Like,
Yeah.
like you go into the dungeon and it's just like, like, sometimes it's fine, and most of the times it's fine. Like, I think like Diablo Immortal isn't a very skilled game. It shouldn't be. It is a casual game that you go, you enjoy. I feel like if you're a very, very hardcore grinder, this is not the game for you. Like, this is the game that
Yeah.
you come to retire from ARPGs. Come have some
I mean,
fun.
we only have 5 skills to work with all the time, so there's
Exactly.
that.
And if you want a different experience from time to time, like, just go play like Path of Exile and other things. But I
Yeah.
I started to play Diablo as a meme, because I knew,
Oh,
like, like I come from a time that I saw like a lot of content creators saying like, oh, this is so bad, pay to win things and this and that. But
Oh yeah, that. Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that era? Like,
Oh, I mean, that's why. I mean, that's one reason. Well, it kind of brings me to how I got into doing this. I didn't want to just do Diablo Immortal, and I still don't, obviously, for like
obvious
the channel
reasons.
and whatever else. Yeah, but I mean, what got me to try it out was people in my warband were like, "Hey," which unfortunately my warband is like pretty much non-existent anymore. But they're like, "Hey, you should do like videos or whatever because you're free to play." And there's not. And I seen there wasn't really any of that really out there
Mm-hmm.
at all. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, yeah. And they're like, well, you do really well, and you can take down whales and this and that. And it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, that's called like playing the game and actually having to use skill over
brain.
anything else. And it's like, yeah, it's like it's a lot harder, obviously. But like I said, that's what I enjoy, is that kind of challenge. And and then of course some people say, well, you can never win it. It's like, well, there's limits.
Technically.
But like I said, yeah. But I mean,
Technically.
like I said, the gap has been getting that much more closer than it was. Even though they raised the resonance from 10 to like 12K now or whatever the maximum is, but they're still gonna try to do that to appease the whales and whatever. But it's like it's way more, like a lot more in line than it used to be, and it's way more feasible.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy the most, like I said, is just that kind of challenge of saying, "Oh, yeah, I can catch you slipping every now and again," and I like it because it's like, well, I didn't spend a dime.
Yeah.
It's like, here we are. I've just been playing the game. And then they get mad, and then I'll see that they'll chase me down the lane, in battlegrounds. It's like, and you can just taste the salt.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
You know what? It is so fascinating that you literally have the same story as me. Same like warband guild saying that, yo, like, what the fuck, like, you play so well, you're free to play, like you have, like, how can you do that, like like this thing. So for me, it took me so many months, man. It took me like, I don't know, because I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do this, like I never like, it was not like in my plans, basically. So
Yeah, it just kind of just one of those things that just kind of came up. I was like, all right, sure, and then boom, here we are, and that kind of thing.
yeah, but there was like this moment that I just felt like I found like something super cool in the game, which was the auto build, and I just felt like I wanted to share it with my guild, and that was like my first video, and it ended up going viral. And then I was like, okay. Then I made another guide for my guild, which was like how, because you have no idea how many times I gave like the same explanation to multiple people, how to like optimize for PvP, how to optimize, like how can you farm like faster, like, because my guild was was decent, but there was a lot of casuals or a lot of veterans that been playing for a long time, and they they just don't care a lot. So whenever I could help, I would help, and whenever they ask, I also will help. So I was that guy that while we were doing dungeons, I'm like explaining things, or like we're doing open world and I'm on follow, and I was like trying to help them. So that's where like the thing came from, like they pushing. And well, now here we are, like in you also. So it's kind of fascinating, like how your mates inside the game kind of pushed you into start making content. And how I want to ask you a question, like, because you made the choice. Like for me, in the beginning, I was like, do I put face? Do I don't put face? And do I go do I show my because like it's a bit it's personal,
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, my wife told me like, oh, just be yourself, like just go, like that doesn't matter, man. Who cares, And I was like, okay, then I'll just do it. But you choose not to,
Yeah.
And you are a Faceless channel that does Diablo Immortal content. There are many that they choose that. And then I want to ask you, why did you choose that?
Well, I actually used to have a camera on whenever I would stream on Twitch years back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I did it then, and then sometimes I wouldn't. And then, you kind of get a little bit of pushback sometimes if you was like, oh, you had camera. Where's your camera? Where's your camera? I was like, okay. Is that what it's all about? And it's like, sometimes it detracts from the content a little bit in a sense. And I feel like I'm not about that. It's like, look, here's what I'm presenting. This is what I want you to be more invested in, and whatever else. And it's like, yeah, I appreciate, there's some personality aspect, of course, and people will latch onto, and I appreciate that. And if people do appreciate it for what it is, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like it just detracts. I've watched various people, like, I know, was it Apollyon and Mao? I know they don't. And then as other people on YouTube that I watch, let's see, IGP and Manly Badass Hero. Those people, they don't use cameras. And then I heard IGP on his live stream not too long ago, actually, and he doesn't do those very often. And then I happened to catch him, and he explained it the same way pretty much. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that 100%. He's like, yeah, it detracts sometimes too much from the actual game and what we're, putting on the show for and whatever else. And it's kind of more along the lines of how I feel with it. I don't know if I can get proper.
So from what I'm understanding, like you want like the game to be like on the spotlight and not you be the spotlight. Is that
yeah, more or less.
But
I do like to put my little personal touches on things and whatever else, and that's hopefully hopefully that comes through. I don't know, but yeah, I much rather prefer that over having a camera.
So, but for example, I will give you my reasoning. What at the end of the day took me to make the decision of going with the camera.
Yeah,
was because I felt that, and maybe you can push back on this because maybe I have like the wrong opinion.
No.
But I felt like, okay, if one day I start making content, okay. And this just because like you just run like multiple scenarios, like the what ifs, what if, like I was expecting like 20-30 views maximum, like it was like my guildmates, but the what if, what if it actually happens, you know? So I did my best. Okay, I did a good thumbnail. I'm a designer, so that's the minimum. Okay, I cannot make things look like terrible. Literally, my ADHD just like goes fucking crazy. So, so with this, I just thought to myself, okay, what if it happens and one day I start making content and in 6 months this game dies?
Yeah.
What is going to be my channel? You know?
Yeah.
So that was a fear that literally, even with the camera, I have this fear, you know?
Honestly, it still is. It really is. And it's like, that's why I've been wanting to, I sprinkle in every now and again something else. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that didn't quite catch on as much. But at the same time, it's like, no, I still want to provide a little bit more variety. And it's not always going to be about this. So, and I keep trying to say that, but it's like, well, we come here for this. And it's like, well, that's nice. And I appreciate that. And
so you deep like you put like some other games
every now and then, like I did some like little quick, very very fast guy like for like First Descendant even, but then it's like that one was already saturated, and there was already so many other people that came from like I played Destiny 2 as well for a while, but then with Bungie it's like they're literally their namesake, it goes up and down. But and all those people, of course, that were already established made their way into First Descendant, and of course, that's just how it goes.
Yeah,
but
you just
put one out. Yeah, so I put out this like daily guide, like, oh, here's where you find your dailies, and this is where you get your most bang for your buck for your battle pass. And I'd get like, I had a couple of comments in those, but I knew it was a slow burn. And they said like, oh man, I've been playing the game for like 200 hours. I never knew where to find that. And I'm like, well, there you go. I did my job then. So.
So, but did it perform or no?
I mean, it's one of those things, like whatever, but I just appreciate the fact that
it helps someone.
I get a comment like that, and they benefited it in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, especially for playing the game for X amount of hours, so I like to try to find things that the mass majority don't always find, and it gets left out or missed. And it's like, well, here you go. Here's something you might not have seen before.
Yeah, literally that phrase. Something that nobody ever seen before. That was the thing that made me do the video. Like the auto build, I never seen any free to play at my level putting like 1 million plus damage. So I knew that I had something on my hands, and I was like so excited to share because I never saw, like, I've been consuming content for the past like 6-7 months, and I watch a lot of content. That's why, like, I'm like that guy, like that type of gamer that you just you like vacuum every information, every Reddit post, like, so you're like, I don't know if you watch One Piece, but like Dr. Vegapunk, like he has like this massive brain. So
it's just how the culture of the internet is like everything's in our face all the time, and it's like it's literally everything's at our fingertips. Good or bad.
So but I agree, like with something that you also said, that was like nowadays it's like people didn't even finish downloading the game and they are already watching guides. They don't even try the game. And I know, like, I'm also part of the problem because I create content for that. But I feel like it's also
give and take.
Yeah, it's not also on me. Like, I will recommend, I do recommend, like, if I go on DMs or on the official Discord channel, and wait, what the fuck? No, CC Cleaner, get out. Like, what are you showing? You appear on my screen. So
little pop-ups.
Yeah, you know how it is. Windows.
I know what it is. Yeah, I have it too.
So I always tell them, listen, play the game. Like, play the first like 2-3 days. The game. It's very easy. Just follow the orange quest. There's nothing else. Follow the orange quest, and you're gonna do great. In 3 days or 4 days, if you're like more advanced into the game and you don't know what to do, then if you want to figure out a few more things, go and watch a few guides, then, but at least experience, like that's more or less what you're trying to say, right?
It blows up once you get to West March, of course, and then I can completely understand with all the stuff they throw at you as soon as you unlock everything. it
Yeah.
becomes a little overwhelming. That part I completely understand from the newer players. But for the most part, yeah, when you're first starting out, play it, do the story, and then once, like I said, once you get to West March, which is where literally everything is,
Yeah.
you have access to everything in West March. You don't even practically have to go anywhere in the game anymore. You can do random dungeons that didn't exist, at the start of the launch, and just pop them whenever you want. You don't even have to leave town. You got Castle Erebon and the Abyssal Verge now. Once
Yeah,
you get to a certain
everything is
level,
the same city. But
yeah,
you know what? I kind of hate the layer system because
yeah.
did you play WoW, World of Warcraft? Did you
No,
play?
I stayed away from WoW, but I played Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2.
Okay, I also played Guild Wars too.
Yeah.
Only the second. I made a guardian.
I loved World versus World
Oh
in
my god! Oh my god!
Guild Wars
Right,
2.
right, 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 right. Push, 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 push.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be on the late hours, and we'd get the Oceanic guilds showing up, and we'd have to defend with like 5 people,
Oh my
and we'd
god.
siege. We learned all the
Oh,
spots of putting the siege weapons up to defend against full Zerg blobs.
oh my
And
god.
it was so much fun because you just see the numbers lighten up. I made my own like guild in the game just so I can make the special siege weapons. And we just sit there and I was like, here, build this, let's go, and then just arrow carts and everything. It was great. I
When
enjoyed
did
that
you
so
stop
much.
playing Guild Wars 2?
When I broke through the 50,000 player kills in World versus World.
Mm.
The balancing of it kind of went all over the place. I actually stopped before they introduced the hybrid classes. I played the Dagger Elementalist, and I would go and do like solo runs and take out 5 people at a time on my own, that kind of thing. And I'd just run camps and supply camps and that kind of thing, and then build up
Mm.
weapons and siege defenses because it's like, oh yeah, it's about that time. Here comes the Zerg. It's like, why is there massive lag all of a sudden? Oh, they have arrived. It's like they'll be here shortly with their golems and everything, trying to beat down the castle doors.
Yeah, like, but Guild Wars was fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I played only.
I enjoy the combat in that a lot actually.
Really?
And then yeah, the well,
The
as far as the
rolling,
elementalist,
all
yeah,
the mesmer, or the elements.
no, the elementalist. We'd have like all the different elements that you'd swap through on your you have
Oh,
different
is
and
that
you'd
like a
have
new?
different skills per
It,
element too, and that's what I liked about it.
oh, is a new? It was from the beginning of the. Maybe I didn't play that one.
Yeah,
I played the
yeah.
gladiator. I played mesmer,
Yeah,
and guardian
Mesmer was
and guardian.
Mesmer was the cloner illusionist.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like
and
it was so
yeah,
fun.
they would. I would have a lot of fun taking out the thieves.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
the thing I didn't appreciate in that one though, and I still don't like it in any PvP game, is infinite stealth. I feel
Mm.
like if you can catch them, if you know where they're at, if you catch them and do damage to them while they're in stealth, they should be knocked out of it.
Mm.
But that was the one game where they stayed in stealth and they were able to like Condi cleanse and whatever while they were in stealth, and I was like constantly having to reapply Condis to do damage to them in there, and it's like no, they should be knocked out of stealth after so long, I think.
Yeah.
But
No.
but
I feel like there was like some problems with the combat for me personally. That's why I kind of stopped playing.
yeah.
But
Now as far as Immortal goes, with like one aspect I really honestly didn't like seeing in any PvP game, I feel immunity is a huge crutch.
Yeah.
A huge crutch.
Yeah.
And I think they went overboard with it only because at the very beginning of the game
Yeah.
the lethality is extremely high as it was. They had to dial it in somehow, but then they started going a little too far, and now we have immunities all over the place, and it's like, well, okay, I'll be able to damage this person in about 5-10 seconds before that little window of half a second where I can burst them down with something, and that's yeah.
Man. No, definitely. I feel like the savior coming into the game, like you're saying, is it
I
was
don't
like
even have a savior yet. I still don't have savior.
you don't have a okay. Why? What is the reason? It's because it's
I just never got one. I never was able to get one. And
But you
people
ca-
say, "Oh, just go in the market. It's really cheap." I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Not well. I mean, it might have been, but not so much anymore because that's kind of climbing back up again. But
you can
yeah,
just get
I
the
just
blue
never
one.
got one, and I'm just like, whatever. I got. And I
Oh
wasn't
my
even using
god.
I wasn't even using cheat death for a long time either. I just started. I was running pure absolute glass. I was like, I'm
Oh
free to
my
play.
god.
I am glass, so I'm going in there, balls to the wall, doing as much as I
How many
can.
deaths you have
Yeah.
per BG?
Well, sometimes I don't have any, depending
Yeah. Okay. So if you play like
because
very
I'm a
defensive,
support.
yeah, you play the support. That's what I was gonna say. Like you probably play
Yeah.
support, right?
AOE support, just raining down
Yeah.
firestorms like
It
crazy all over
works,
the place.
but I'll 100%, like 200% recommend you to get, even if it's a blue,
Oh, I mean, I'd
a blue
like to.
savior
I mean,
one.
honestly, would yeah.
It's
No, I
just
got
like
with the
okay,
troll
because
game
I
running around
agree
me.
with you that back then was like a bit. I played for like one season without savior, okay, and I'm barbarian, so I have undying rage. So I was like, okay, fuck it,
Oh yeah,
I don't need to have like another one. And then I also put it like the gladiator afterwards, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I have two shit deaths, it's fine, but no.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference, and my saber is not that bad. It's not that good, but it's just like it just like sometimes becomes so clutch. But I agree with you. If I could, I would remove it from the game. Just literally, remove it. Make everyone do like less damage, and even more less damage than already are, and just like try to balance the game. But I feel like the thing is this: you can't expect a PvP pay to win game to be balanced. Will never be. It can be fun. Just try to make it fun. And I feel like Savior, it is like a give and take. It's like it because is anti fun if you're the one killing it. And it is fun if you're the one that survived because of it. Otherwise, you just go into a BGs and you get slapped all over the place. Because imagine this: you're a wizard. You can stay in the back.
Yeah.
You can save your teleport. And then I want to go like a bit more like which I think are the best two free to play classes in the game. That, in my opinion, they are barbarian, wizard, and probably necromancer. What do you think about this take?
Yeah, Wizards in a rough place, and it always kind of has been in various aspects. We don't have any CC immunity. We don't have any kind of actually immunity skills whatsoever. The only one we had was the hailstone, and that would only give us like 6 charges, and that is just obliterated with dots. So it's not even there. Yeah, there's the ice crystal thing, like Lee May from Overwatch, whatever, that makes us immune, and then they put that in only because like it was a crossover from Diablo 4 kind of thing. But it didn't exactly work as well as in Diablo 4. But I was like, there's that too. But I mean, we don't have any like easy outs. We really don't. And Necro's got 9 lives like cats. So they're constantly, reviving themselves, which was crazy when they put that into the game about the borrowed time.
Yeah.
But and then of course right now I'd say, obviously Tempest. I played it when it first came out for like I don't know, maybe it was a week, 2 weeks at most, just to unlock the masteries of the initial set that came out, and because it was fresh, it was new, and I was like, all right, I've been playing this for 2 years. Or whatever, when they had that anniversary when they released it. And I was like, all right, I'll mix it up and try something different. I did. I saw exactly the direction it was going. I seen by the essences that came out, I was like, this is broken as could be. It's entirely face roll, and I don't want any part of it. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. I just don't prefer that kind of play style. And it's like, yeah, I honestly feel like that's just a huge monkey wrench since they introduced it. And then they've kind of had to change the meta up a little bit and compensate overly for it. And it's just one of those balancing issues that all games have over the course of time, and they have to make adjustments. Sometimes
and they have to power creep.
Sooner.
They have to power creep also, which is like like Tempest is the classic gacha power creep class. You play the FK arena, Shamira, well, like in the beginning of the game was like super OP, and by the end is like the F tier, right? So
Well,
Tempest,
they have the ascended version of her now.
yeah,
but,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. I had it also, but then I just stopped because
Like I said, the Companions Classic came around, or the Companions came around, and it's the fresh new start, and I have Shamira again. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta build her up now.
I remember. I remember. I remember how it was.
It's nice because, like I said, it's like starting over fresh.
Yeah.
It's weird, you know.
Do
It's
you
kinda like
feel
WoW
like
and WoW Classic kind of thing? But
do you feel like, for example, because this is something I've been hearing about, like day one players, is they say like,
Yep.
In the beginning of the Diablo Immortal, PvP kind of felt better in many ways because it was just like more like slower. You could actually outplay someone. It was very heavy pay to win.
Yeah.
But most of the times, if you got like some good matchmaking, you could have like a bit more spaces because like now, right now, if you go like this is the meta.
Yeah.
Everything is AOE. If you have a like everything is AOE, everything needs immunity, everything is about CC. It is a shit show. Okay, pretty much. If you go around the idol,
Yeah.
it's like it's you're the wizard, you know what you do. Now we have the barbarian with the fucking Stone Age, the pit, like which is
I've seen that. I've obviously seen that recently, and that's pretty interesting.
Bro,
but I mean, it
is
wasn't too much
so-
different from the other one that was already there. So I was like, okay, they just made the walls,
No,
bigger
no.
and taller,
Wait,
but-
no. It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'll tell
Well, I
you
mean,
why.
you get trapped, and they do like a debuff while everybody's in there. So yeah.
Yeah, no. First is bigger,
Yeah.
and then it gives you a 25% buff and reduces the 25% damage the people inside, but
Yeah.
it is way more OP than the one that you're talking about, like the hammer.
Yeah.
It is. It's just because it just makes you way more tankier, man. Like you go into the idol and then you can do like very, very clutch plays, because the problem with the one that you're saying, the hammer one, the circle is a bit small. Okay.
Yeah.
This one, it is larger, and if you want, you can make even like 30% larger. So you can make plays that your team is pushing the idol. Imagine this, right? They are pushing the idol, and then you have a wizard like is on there, and you as a barbarian, you can go to the front. You drop the pit, and the pit is going to be as big as the lane. So unless they teleport on top or they try to dash through the pit and then over the pit, but if they do that, they're going to have a barbarian to deal with, So you can do a lot of like very nice plays just because it is big enough that blocks everything, which for me, it is a problem. It is the same problem as I think Wizard has. The fucking Vortex, or whatever is the name, it is Arcane Wind, right?
Yeah.
It's too big. It's too big.
Thistle bloom.
No, it is big. It is.
The meteor
if you have the
radius-
4 out of 4, like that thing is massive, man. Like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
Like, don't be biased, okay?
I wish I had the 4 out of 4. I don't. I've been running with the basic the entire time, and I have
And it still works.
3 of those. 3 of those that I can put down. Yeah, 3 charges.
Yeah, but I feel like it is cool, and I like for the change, and I enjoy whenever things break the game, just because sometimes breaking the game makes things fun. Not like the ones we saw, like breaking the game because you cannot attack mobs is not fun. But once in a while, having like something OP for like 1 week, it is fine. Then they fix it, and then we go back. Like,
Some go on for too long. That's the
Tempest.
thing. Some go on for far too long.
no.
The whatever nerf they considered that one to be, for the most recent one with the flowing strike shoulder, I'm like, that's not as much as you think.
The thing is, like, they still have a very short CD on the flowing strike.
With beneficial effects.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
It is a path.
The Necro one felt okay. I mean, there was a lot of pushback, obviously, from Necros on that one, but that one felt.
I feel like he missed the mark. I saw like some Necros telling, and I agreed with it at first, but then I also agree with the new with the take they said. It was like by nerfing like the overall cooldown of the rate, it kind of fucked up all the specs, and newbies, pros, whatever. So what they will actually should have went and nerfed was the 4 out of 4 cooldown reduction that it
Yeah.
gives.
Well, and that's where they kind of dig themselves. They
Yeah.
paint themselves in the corner when they
Yeah,
introduce
because
some of
if
these
they did
mechanics
that,
into. Yeah.
if they fix that, like they change the I don't know, change for something else or reduce like the instead of like being 1 second, make like 0.2. I don't know, like there's so many
Yeah.
fixes, but by doing the overall cooldown, imagine you on your teleport, they now you just go from 9 seconds back to 12. You know, like it's 3 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it still is.
It's a huge deal.
In Battleground, it is a lot.
Yeah.
So
we have like it's funny because like all the other classes, and we've kind of said this joking around as far as wizards go, it's like we have like the bare basic ability of teleport compared to like a lot of the other classes. They got like better versions of teleport than wizard did, and that's like the wizard's core skill. And over the course of time, all the other classes got like slightly better versions of it. It's like, okay, yeah, we still have our generic teleport, and that's all we get. And we don't have like we have one that can give us a shield if we put essence on with it, but that's about it. Other than that, we don't have CC immunity, none of that. So it's like, okay, guys, great.
Yeah, I feel like that's where the unbalancing starts. Like, I'm not a huge apologist in terms of like nerfs. I always hope that they buff the other classes. So for example, I said that I wish that they will just give like some immunity to CC, even like if it's short, like 1 second, to wizard, demon hunter, monk, for example, like just to balance a bit the DPS, because those are classes that actually I feel like they need a bit of help. I think like barbarian right now, it is very strong. It is like, like when I said I give 2 answers to the new players what are like the best class, I say first try the best class and the one thinks you're coolest, and the second one is like barbarian and tempest probably is going to be like the strongest ones at this moment. But I didn't include the Tempest because Tempest, to be really good at, you need to know how to build Tempest. The Tempest, like if you just switch now to Tempest and you don't have your Eternal gear like with the 4 out of 4s, or you don't know how to build like very well, bro, it doesn't do anything. It's just like super weak. But then you have the reverse of the medal, which is like all these like super jacked up Tempest, and for example, shield stacking,
wind walk.
Oh my god,
strike.
It is crazy. They go next to you, they wind walk, they and they you're dead, right? So you have that thing, like that's how big the gap. So for example, in barbarian, like the skill gap between the bad barbarian in a good one is like is short. Like maybe you can know like how to pull with the chains, and you can know but it's short. But between like a good wizard and a bad wizard is massive. It's just like you can see it like, because a bad wizard is gonna be like 112, and a good wizard is gonna be like, I don't know, like 4040. You know what I'm saying? Like those scores, which for me, I think the main reason why I said necromancer, barbarian, and wizard for free to play is because I feel like in the front line, as a free to play, necro is the best class if you're starting the game, because like Tempest is not easy to build. Necromancer is just like raid form, borrow time, savior, gladiator, and bro, you're never gonna die. Barbarian, because is the master at the idol, and wizard, I feel like if I have to choose between demon hunter and wizard in the backline, 100% I'll take a wizard.
And Demon Hunter still has like insane burst lethality.
Yeah, but that's just it.
But
that's just it.
Yeah.
It adds nothing else. It's just like,
I mean, they still have their multiple dashes too that they can use for their. They have a CC immunity for a few seconds with that. The one they got that's really nasty right now is one where they can lock you down in place.
Oh, the knife
and
trap.
Just unload on you.
The knife trap, right?
They have, I forget what essence it is, but I mean they can apply it to you pretty much with I forget what ability, but I've been, like,
it's the trap
with it.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Yeah.
It's annoying as fuck. I know, because I run after them, and then they trap me, and then and they kill me.
Yeah.
If they don't kill me, they're gonna proc at least the undying or the savior. But it is something like that they actually are the like Demon Hunter again. Skill gap like huge. Like
Oh yeah,
you can go from like the typical demon hunter daddy swing
daring
noob.
swing route. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Or you
Yeah.
see a demon hunter with dashes and that like
Yeah.
that spinning chakra or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're like, holy shit, okay, this guy is good. You know, most
The
of the time.
The dot trappers from Demon Hunter were also a pain to deal with, and they still are. Honestly, it's like they can load up one side on defense of idols, and just constantly just hit you with dots before you can even make it there, and you're getting hit with, and you can't damage those things either. The shadows they leave behind, all that kind of stuff. There's no damage to them, and you're just constantly getting
Yeah.
just like gradually picked off with it, and it's like, oh, come on.
But I think summon builds they went off meta because people just learn, they just adapt. That's the thing about meta. People like you saw, for example, the Blood Knight was also the same thing. Like the first week, like everyone that was running Blood Knight summons like was killing everyone because people were just not moving away from those summons, you know. So it was happening, but I feel like that's the good thing about PvP and metas and you know, live action, not live action, like a live games, you know, like they have there's a term for this, I forgot about, is that the meta keeps updating, you know, like, and in 2 weeks someone is gonna find out like this new thing, you know, like we had for a long time, like Necromancer was like, people are saying, oh my god, it's so boring, like the same spec, and it's still the same spec, but then there was this guy, they found like the 4 out of 4 rate form and with the vortex and these things, and just creates a new build, you know. So that's the beauty about the ARPGs, you know.
Yeah, those outliers are always the best to find whenever you do find them.
Yeah. The same as a flicker tone, man. I know for the fact, Skyreign, that I will most likely never find a build like I did with Oda. It was just like, you know, like there's those one-time things that you just find is like, fuck, like this is so cool, and then all of a sudden you see pretty much everyone using the build or a version that started with your build, you know. But I know, like, but also, I'm not a build maker. I'm not, like, I make builds, but I'm very new at it, and I'm sure like there are better people at making builds. Also, I'm very biased, like with my own perception how to play the game and how I want to play the game.
We all have our own. We have our own styles and our own preferences. So,
So some barbarians, they like leap. Like, I'm not a huge fan of leap because it's a bit junky. Like, hey, just play however you want. And like you said, like, you don't like the word meta, right? And I agree. Like, most of us, they use meta because it just sells more. You know, like people will just click more. But the reality is, any build that you guys see online, mine, Skyreign, or like Apollyon, Mao, or it's like anyone that puts a build out there, understand that builds are just a beginning of a core idea. And if you want, you can build upon, which most people do, you know, like maybe a bit more hardcore. Or they just adapt. Like, so many people are saying, hey, Indez, I really like your build, but I made this change. Like, do you mind? And I say, bro, what the fuck do I mind? Like, what do you, stop, bro, this is not even
that's the whole point.
Exactly. Like, what do I mind? It's cute, okay? It's kind of cute. Like, if you think like, but, you know, like, but I feel like, also, I'm not like I just been playing ARPGs for too long, man. You know, like the same as you. So many things are so clear. It's not like Diablo Immortal is a super complex game. You know, like I see myself, I can pull up and make a build for Diablo Immortal, but I don't see myself like being like the Zizarian, you know, or Ziggy or whatever, like those Path of Exile guys that they make like these fucking
the be all end all kind of whatevers. It's like
those builds, you know, or even like Udiho, you know, like they make like or Rob from Diablo 4, like Diablo 4, it is definitely a level above of complexity and the things that you can go and explore. So I don't think, it's not like I'm dumb or anything. It's just like, it's just not my thing. I'm an entertainer. I like to try. I'm more like if one day I can be, I'll be like a build reviewer, you know. I see a cool build, I play it, I try it, and you know, and then just have fun with it, and that's it. So I'm gonna open now for the chat, do you think like if you guys want to ask a few questions, we are in the last segment. We have the last 15 minutes. Also, if you want to ask anything or to the chat or to anyone, let me know. It was a cool thing, and so we have here Miko, we have Gilga Smash, we have Ellis, Bobby, Corbin, Angel. Thank you guys so much for joining. I know like this is a podcast, so most of people are just listening. So if you guys want to drop a question now, it is the time. But if not, we're just gonna keep moving forward. And so for the last question, I want to ask you, what is like the things that are like maybe your top 3 things that you like to see in Diablo Immortal?
I honestly, PvP, I'd like to see another map. I really would love to see another map. The idle walking simulator has been done to death.
So a new map or a new mechanic inside? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
Tower
well, I mean, we
War.
had the Tower War.
New
Yeah, I mean, Tower
mode?
Wars was nice because it was a bit more open, and there was it was a little bit more tower defense ish. So that was a different mechanic, and I actually liked that one when it was introduced. How they balance it was kind of hit or miss too, but I do like that one. But we don't get it all that frequently, aside from Curse of Towers, and of course if you're fighting for them and whatnot. But as far as battlegrounds in general, for those we need another map of some kind with a different mechanic to it. Just even if it's like a separate leaderboard, even we needed something like a long time ago. Like I said, it's idle walking simulator at this point with that one.
Yeah, it's I mean,
there hasn't been any deviation in it aside
I
from
completely
just giving
agree.
people more immunity.
So one of the benefits that I have from being a newer player, is that I'm not as tired as you guys are from doing the same shit over and over and over. But I'm getting there because I'm like 7 months into the game and I'm like, holy shit, okay, another season, okay, same map, no changes on the map. So like my take is like, really, I don't need a new map. I just need maybe make the map different. Like League of Legends. League of Legends is the same map for like over 15 years now, but it changes over time. They adapt to the meta because new champions, they come into the game with new mechanics, so they have to adapt to the game how it is. And I feel like nowadays, again, it is stupid that you put a pit that people cannot come into your lane. You understand? Like they have to open the lanes. They have to change, modify the map. Like the choke points are on the stairs, bro. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's one way or the other. It's like if you get out, you get out. If you don't, it's forever.
It's dumb. It's dumb. Like
on either side of the fence on that one,
yeah. Like don't let them spawn camp you. Like I think that's the dumb. Make a real phase 1 and 3, please. You know, and that's such a easy thing. Just boost the HP. Like.
Yeah,
it's such a I don't know. I just don't understand.
I did notice it did take a little bit longer when they gave us all a resistance buff recently. The idols themselves take longer than they used to. Not by much, depending, but whenever I get stuck, because I always, for whatever reason, I'm always the one by myself, going off to one side. Nobody comes with me, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And I have noticed it in that regard. It does take longer to take one of them down by yourself, but.
Yeah, so
ever so slightly.
No, I agree. Like they make, but it's very, and also I feel like on the patch notes there are like so many things that are not there, and then we just like runes, for example. You know,
that's why I always look at the Chinese notes and the global, and I compare. I always compare the two, and I'm like, this is what was missed.
I see. So we have here. Stefan is asking, has the bot battlegrounds a daily limit? I heard 3 a day, but not sure. What do you think about this?
Really? When I first did it, when I did the video on it, and when I first noticed it, it was like immediate. And I was still in silver, early silver, because I was taking the season very, very slowly. Seasons in the past, I would burn into legend really easy. I just burn it into legend really fast within like the first week. I'd get into legend, and I'm like, all right, now what? Because you don't get any more rewards for going up any more tiers, and it's like, all right, I'm good. But this season, I was like, I'm going to take my time with it and just do a couple here a day, 2 or 3 a day. But I think that's why they slipped in the bots, which was too prevalent, and I think they might have screwed up in that regard. They are smarter than the last time they did this slightly, so they've tweaked them, and it's like, okay, so they're making gradual improvements to this for, later down the road, perhaps, whatever. But I think it's also to push people into the upper tiers where everybody else is already, the more hardcore PvPers are at, to fill queues in faster for people at the higher ranks of gold and legend tiers.
Yeah. I think that's exactly the reason, and I think there's an additional reason to that, because there's so many players that they just don't want to do PvP, but they want the rewards, they want the keys, they want the reforged stones, and they want the seasonal things. So I think they made the bots to help them, especially like in bronze and silver. For me, I'm legend. I kind of speed run. I did like in 2 or 3 days, right? So.
Yeah.
I don't get any bots. Okay, so I feel like bots are definitely only on the lower ranks.
Yeah, once I got into gold, I haven't seen them since.
Yeah, so I feel like.
But I mean, it was kind of disheartening. Like I said, that when I seen it the very first day, and it was right after the patch. And I was like, what did you guys do? Is this an all the time thing or what? And then I'll talk to some people in a PvP Discord, and that's pretty much all they do.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I haven't seen bots ever. And I was like, well, and then other people said, oh yeah, I got this one and I got this one. And then some of them even said the bots had like, I got a message from somebody saying, oh yeah, the bots had like 7 to 9K secondaries. I'm like,
no,
wow.
No, I don't know.
But I mean, it depends. I was like, well, what did you go in with? And I looked at their resonance, and they were, sort of whale-ish.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Okay, that's the balance.
Okay, I see. That's what I was trying to say. Like maybe is it also like whale-ish, so they're gonna get whale-ish bots, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I feel
except for the dirty Smurfers.
I mean, okay.
That remove all their red gems.
I literally I saw that from Apollyon today. I feel like okay.
I had instances of it too, and I spoke. I don't care. I'm calling you out on it. So
I spoke with a few whales. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reasoning that they gave me most of the times.
Oh, the queue's too long.
No. It was just like I just want to get to legend so I can play with the other whales. That's one of the reasoning. Okay, they are definitely. I will not. At least I'm not saying that every whale does this.
Yeah, I know. There's some.
I'm saying at least there are probably some losers.
Dirty apples in the bunch.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of understand, because like as a mid maxer, like as a PvPer, maybe you just like you're a big whale, so the only satisfaction you may get is like trying to beat, because there are two types of whales. The whales, they are whales to beat up like the newbies, and they are like the whales, they are whales because they enjoy to fight against other whales. So usually those are the ones that I spoke with. Okay, so they don't even need. Okay, they can get like to legend like very fast either way, but it just makes it easier to get to legend, and then they can just start playing with just legend rank players. If it's true or not, I understand their point. It is a valid point, but I also understand the point of frustration to go into a game that you have like someone with 8,000 potency or armor pen, and you're just getting slapped, right? Like it just doesn't make sense. So then we have here, Daniel, how do I get gold in this game besides events? I'm struggling a lot. I now listen, if you're struggling, you probably, it's just because you're starting the game, man, because gold after like 2 weeks into the game is just gonna be useless. In the beginning, go do weekly vaults.
Yeah, vault was a big one.
Vault is the biggest one when it comes to gold.
It's hard to get into parties though if you're just starting out, because they'll look at your level and be like, "We're not taking you."
Yeah, but just try.
That's the problem with that one. Yeah, I mean, you have to get in there one way or the other at some point anyway for your weekly shadow quests and mortal quests or whatever.
Yeah. So vault is a good one, and the other one is just play the game and do open world farming. I say, and don't forget to actually go on your Paragon, and you have on the Vanquisher. You have a talent on the top 3 on the Vanquisher Paragon. Like, it's the first one you unlock. There's like this 50% more gold that you get. So please activate that, Daniel. It's going to be very key.
That was the other crazy thing when they changed the Paragon system up entirely from what we used to have.
Yeah. I think it's better now. I kind of enjoy it more.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
just
But boy,
pissed.
it was a bit of a culture shock when it happened.
Yeah,
For
I'm just
sure.
pissed that they removed very smoothly 1 or 2 lines in your bags. You know?
Our Paragon levels are starting to creep back up again, though. So I don't
Yeah.
know what they're gonna do, if they're gonna reset button
Uh,
us again or not.
I don't know. So we have here Corbin. What is the best Zader PvP build? I have no idea, brother. I'm just gonna be very honest. Do you know? I know that now they have like one is like leapfrogging, like it's like they look like frogs inside the BG. You know, that seems kind of cool, but I have no idea. I went to Zader. I'm still farming my ancestors, but I still didn't do PvP because ancestors farming, man, it's just like we have here, like, look at this guy saying please make more, bring some more class videos. I want to, but it is, if you know the work that it is to even like build up a new character for the answers and trying to find the answers, the right answers to do the builds, it's just like sometimes takes more than 100 hours just to find one. It's just like super stupid, man.
Yeah, the RNG drop rate on the essences is extremely low, and it's such a muddied pool because there's just so many essences in all the classes.
Yeah, no,
So many
it's
essences.
too many, and I feel like the system should be as you keep collecting more, and as you have less essence to unlock, just give me more odds. Like literally now, right now, I've been farming for the past 3 days for the shoulders that I'm missing, and it's not fucking dropping. It's insane. I have a build that I want to do, and I can't get the shoulders. So they need to adjust. And I feel like as a creator, I hear you. You know, I'm like Blizzard.
Yeah.
I hear you. You know, but I can't do shit. Like my time is limited.
Yeah, we've got 24 essences alone,
and 24
for
hours.
each piece of gear. Each piece of gear, helmet for wizard, we have a total of 24 essences on, and that goes for every single piece.
It's nuts.
So yeah,
it's not. It's what 6 times 24, right? Like
yep.
It's a lot of answers. Yeah. So
and that loyalty bonus needs to be just removed. Not the bonus itself, the cap.
Yeah, the cap
just needs to go away.
Unlock that shit. Doesn't make any sense. And these are the things that I want Diablo Immortal to be a bit more modern. It feels like time gated stuff. Like very harsh.
That's the mobile gaming aspect, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just
a lot of mobile games have time gated stuff on purpose, and it's just it doesn't have a place in an ARPG.
No, but the thing is, like, now we are not in the beginning of the game where any class, every class. First, you only had 6 classes, and every class only had like 6 answers, right? Like this, like the game, 2 years down the line. Like you said, every class has 24 slots, not the newest ones, but the old ones, like 24 slots per each. Like that's just nuts, man. Like it just too much grind, and that's why when the new patch comes, I went back to Bard because here I only have like 6 answers to go and farm, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm
still at 4 or 6 on the new ones, and unfortunately, I'm not really looking forward to getting the other 2 because I'm not happy with this set.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not like me, Sky, and other creators. We like Orat is fucking always complaining about this shit. Like, and I agree because understand something. When you want to make a new build nowadays, it's just not the instance. Okay, you have the instance and you have the Terror Rift affix, the magic attributes, which they are also pain in the ass. And also,
there needs to be a blacksmithing reforging system for those,
bro. Right?
Yeah.
And whenever we freaking switch classes, we can only bring 8 items. You know, like, so the whole system as a creator, that's why you see a lot of creators just being having a main or like 2 or 3 classes that they main, just because there are too many classes and too less time, and the mechanics of switching classes is just like too daunting for us to keep creating multiple builds to multiple things, you know. So unfortunately, I wish I could do like all the classes and play all the classes. I played all the classes and I have all them mastery 4, but if I go back, I still have like Inferno 1 and 2 and now 3 to go farm. So so last question. We're gonna have one spot for one last question, and then we're gonna end up. And before we go into it, so thank you so much, Skyrim. I hope you enjoyed it. Also,
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time. It was pretty impromptu for both of us, but hey, I'm all
no,
for it.
listen.
It's good.
Every episode is like this. Okay, maybe I
yeah.
give a bit of a gap, no, but it is like we go all around, and but I said you're gonna kill it, and I was not wrong. You killed it, and also I want to thank to the chat. Thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone, and as always, don't forget to put the timestamp down below. You guys are the legends that keep carrying this channel. So with this, I guess we're gonna finish right now. You have any last words for the chat?
No. I mean, if you guys have any questions, of course, drop them in my comments and whenever you need, and I try to answer them as often as I can, as per usual. And I had fun. I'm more than happy to do it again with if we get a collaboration for some other people that want you all want to talk together at some point again in the future. I'm down for that. So, but yeah, it was a good time.
Awesome. So with this, chat, please don't forget and go drop a follow or a subscribe here. This is not a follow. This is not Twitch. On Skyreign.
Hey, you can follow me on Twitch too.
And you can follow
on
on
there in a
Twitch.
while, but,
Hey, maybe you're gonna go back. So I see all the love. Be as awesome as Skyrim, and have a great weekend. I see you guys on tomorrow. So see you around. Thank you so much. Peace.